When you realize that people are suffering and struggling and that there's a simple, elegant solution, a return to ancestral living, that's really what my purpose is now.
Before the Liver King would become TikTok's latest viral craze by eating an obscene amount of raw meat and even a few testicles. Before the Liver King would create his own line of supplements based off of the 9 ancestral tenants that shaped and guide his life. Before the Liver King would sit down on the Impulsive podcast and have over 1.5 million followers on Instagram and over 2.5 million followers on TikTok at the time of this recording. Now, you may have recently come across a massively muscled and bearded figure on TikTok, eating things like bull testicles and taking ice baths while delivering some inspirational pep talks. Now, this is the man known as the Liver King, and almost always at times, well, the dude is shirtless. After all, the shirt would only get in the way of his message that the modern world has made men soft, and the only way to reclaim our masculinity is to revert back to living like our far more jacked forebears. Now, how do we do this? Well, according to the Liver King, all you have to do is follow his 9 ancestral tenets and endure one of the most brutal workout regimens imaginable. Oh, and more important than anything else, well, you need to eat a metric crap ton of raw liver. I mean, how do you think he gets his name? But who really is this CEO of Ancestral Lifestyle and where did he come from? Well, to find out, you're gonna have to stay tuned to our latest episode of Before They're Famous. Now, if you're new to this channel or you're watching it on Facebook, be sure to give us a subscribe or follow. And now let's get into this video. Also, feels good to be here. You know what I mean? The Liver King is a 45-year-old influencer and supplement brand owner who was born with the real name of Brian Johnson. Now, Brian grew up in the state of Texas, and as a child, well, he was a far cry away from the Hulk that he is today. Now, in fact, Brian says that he grew up sad and weak, largely because his father died when he was still young before Brian ever got a chance to know him. Now, from that point forward, well, Brian, he lived with his mother in San Antonio. Now, during school hours, he would get pushed around and bullied a lot. In fact, there was a time in 6th grade when one classmate hooked a loogie in his hand and then slapped Brian right across the face with it. Yikes. Now, another time when Brian showed up to school feeling unusually good about himself thanks to a new pair of kicks, well, someone stole them from his locker during gym class and he had to walk home barefoot without them. Now, it's reasons like this that whenever someone brings up Brian Johnson's government name, well, the man we now recognize as the Liver King, he refuses to respond. Now, his real life began to change when he hit the gym. This happened around middle school at the encouragement of one of his mom's boyfriends. Now, it turns out this guy, he had a weightlifting bench, so Brian, he set about taking advantage of that. Now, soon enough, well, Brian, he fell in love with the attention he began to receive from his peers. Now, one comment in particular, well, that would change everything when a classmate referred to him as Marky Mark. Now, having his body compared to that of Mark Wahlberg, who at the time was like a Calvin Klein model as well as a member of the Funky Bunch, well, that was a life-altering moment for Brian because it was right then that he realized that other men, well, they desired to look like him. Better yet, girls, they started to take notice as well. But before Brian's transformation would be complete, he'd head off to a medical school after earning a chemistry degree at Texas Tech University. Now, once at med school, however, he'd drop out before orientation was over. Now, shortly thereafterwards, well, Brian would begin working for a pharmaceutical company where he made enough money to indulge in expensive outdoor hobbies like snowboarding, which is how he met the Liver Queen back in 2004. Now, before meeting Barbara, well, the woman who would come to be his wife, well, the Liver King was living a totally different lifestyle. He explained to GQ, "I was good at being a man before I met her, but she made me a good man." Now, when Brian met Barbara, well, she was working as a dentist. Now, once they began sharing a life together, well, these two, they would open up a successful dentist practice before then moving on to sell nutritional supplements that supported Brian's ancestral lifestyle. Because while the Liver King is the unquestionable star of this increasingly popular lifestyle, it really got started as a family affair. Now, after marrying the Liver Queen, well, Brian and Barbara, they had 2 sons, often now referred to as the Savage Liver Boys. But the real names, they're actually Rad and Striker. Now, you've no doubt seen them before as they make frequent appearances in the Liver King social media posts. And according to Pops, well, it was his kids who were the cause for everything that happened next. You see, when Brian's sons were young, well, they were in and out of the hospital frequently with various illnesses and allergies. Their parents were desperate for help, and that's when Brian read Sally Fallon's book titled Nourishing Traditions, the cookbook that challenges politically correct nutrition and diet dictocrates. Dictocrates? TikTokerates. Sorry, I have a new word for me. After reading the book cover to back, Brian decided to implement some of its suggestions. In fact, he told GQ, "We cut out all the processed foods, we cut out all the liquid calories, the seed oils, we just went to whole foods, chiefly liver and bone marrow. Anything that made sense, like yeah, it's ancestral." Basically, the family began to live by what they refer to as the 9 ancestral tenants, which consist of sleep, eat, move, shide, connect, cold, sun, fight, and bond. There's 9. I don't know how I messed that up. Now, Brian says that within a couple days of putting these beliefs into practice, well, the rings around his kids' eyes, they went away. Now, he also noticed that they had renewed vibrancy and a ton more energy. In short, what the Liver King and his family of carnivores had done was take existing mainstream diet trends and crank it up to 11. After all, in the 90s, we had highly processed low-fat food diets, but the nutrition trends in the 2010s, well, they've swung the opposite way by encouraging people to return to the all-natural whole foods of our predecessors. Believing that he had stumbled upon a great way to live, well, Brian made the decision to share his findings with the world. So with the help of a social media consulting firm, he began posting about his lifestyle back in 2021. Yeah, recent.
So we went to New York City so that I could show all the badass primals how to get it done.
Considering his digital footprint today, well, you might be surprised to find out that things got off to a rocky start for the Liver King. Now, to be totally honest, he didn't really enjoy making videos, at least not at first. Now, it took his consultants a while to figure out exactly what it is the Liver King did and did not like to do on camera, but eventually they stumbled upon the magic formula: more meat and more strength. Simply put, more of everything. His popularity exploded all over TikTok and Instagram, and the Liver King began sharing videos of his daily meals. Something that generally consists of raw liver, a protein shake, raw testicle, bone marrow, and a pound of raw meat with egg yolk. I think I got, close enough. In fact, the Liver King says he eats about a pound of raw liver each and every day, a quantity that he admits is way too much for a raw food novice. Now, most people, they should start with like 3 ounces about 2 times a week. Now, the Liver King also shares his many workout routines with his loyal followers as well. Now, most of the time, they consist of him carrying around unbelievable amounts of weight while pushing his body to what, for the most part, most of us would say is like an absolute breaking point. But he can do it. But he also participates in something he calls simulated hunts. Now, basically, this is the Liver King's attempt to recreate what our ancient ancestors used to go through by putting his body in extreme conditions to hone himself even further. Since posting his first TikTok in August of 2021, only a little over a year ago now, well, the Liver King has seen his brand go massively viral. Now, back in August of that same year, there had only ever been one video on the platform that used the hashtag ancestral living. But since Brian started posting the hashtag, well, it's been used more than 3.7 million times, and that's in the US alone. Now, if that's not enough to make you believe that the Liver King's message is resonating with millions of people, well, how about this? He's amassed over 1 million followers on Instagram and well over 2 million on TikTok. In addition to his legion of fans that he calls primals, well, the Liver King also has friends and disciples and celebrities like Logan Paul, whose podcast he recently appeared on to promote the benefit of eating foods like animal testicles. Yeah.
We're gonna eat testicles.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Probably good.
Whoa.
Heck, even MSNBC anchor Chris Hayes, well, he tweeted that he nearly lost his mind when meeting the influencer in March of 2022. And sure, there are some people who are going to detract from his story, including Joe Rogan, who seems convinced that the Liver King is a steroid junkie, something that the Liver King, well, he has outright denied.
Have you seen that bloke that eats just the raw?
No, that's a gimmick, that guy.
It just looks ridiculous.
Let me
He's
tell
got
you
a
something.
plate of hearts and he just looks weird.
He's got an ass filled with steroids is what he's got.
But in all likelihood, well, as he becomes more and more popular, well, the Liver King, well, he'll have to fend off more comments like that as he takes his brand of ancestral living as far as he possibly can. Where will he ultimately end up? Well, I guess that's a story for another time, another place. After all, this is before they're famous. My name is Michael McCrudden. Please remember to subscribe to this channel. We drop a new video each and every day, and I'll be eating more ancestral foods. Maybe it'll help out with my motor skills because I'm starting to flub up some words. We're doing a lot of content. Be sure to give us a follow. I'll see you guys in another video. Boom! Ow. Hurt myself. I installed my pool. If you're following me on Instagram, you know all about it. All right, see you in another video.